Welcome to this week's Read the Bible Together session. So, of course, we are continuing our Old Testament series and Spark Story Bible from Spark House Publishing is where we read our stories from. And this week it's a story about feeding people, which is fitting since we are just wrapping up our God's Work Our Hands Day and Summer Faith Formation project of collecting our change and celebrating those gifts as they feed people through Lutheran social services. So, this story is Elijah feeds 100. So it's a story of one of the Old Testament prophets, and it may be familiar. And if it's not, that is fine. You can follow along in Second Kings chapter 4, verses 42 through 44. So Elijah. The prophet Elijah worked for God. He gave the people messages from God. Elijah prayed for people and helped them give their offerings to God. A man went to see Elijah. I hope Elijah will help me, the man thought, and he was carrying a special bag. The bag was special because he used it to carry his offering to God. And inside the bag were 20 loaves of bread. The bread was made with the first grains of barley that were grown in the man's field. And the man walked up to Elijah and gave Elijah the bag. This is my offering for God, the man said. And Elijah peeked inside the bag. When he saw that what was inside, Elijah said a surprising thing. Take this bread and give it to people to eat. And the man looked confused. He thought he was bringing his bread for God. Give it to the people, he asked. There are 100 people waiting to eat. How can 20 loaves of bread feed 100 people? And there you can see Elijah and the man with the bag of bread, his offering to God. And if you caught it, the bread was made from the first grains of barley. So the very first harvest from the field. And so he was sharing that with God and giving back to God. But Elijah repeated what he had said a bit louder. Take this bread and give it to the people to eat. And the man still didn't understand, and he frowned at Elijah and shook his head. And when Elijah saw the look on the man's face, he reminded the man of God's promise. God's promise. God has promised to take care of us. God will give us enough food to eat. We will even have leftovers. The man finally listened to Elijah, and carefully he opened the bag and gave the bread to the people. He waited. Would there be enough? Could all 100 people eat? Yes. All 100 people ate the bread until they were full. And when they were through, the man helped clean up, and then he noticed a wonderful thing. There were leftovers, just as Elijah had said. And there you go. You can see the people are eating and happy and filling their bellies, and the bag is still full of bread. So, how much food do you think it would take to feed 100 people for dinner at your house? And just talk about the needs of food in your community and how you can help with maybe making more donations to the local food pantries, to Lutheran Social Services, to take some food items to a small pantry, one of the small free pantry boxes in our neighborhoods as well. So think about food and those who may not have enough this week and how you can help.